Sounds correct.
Welcome, Realm family, to another episode of Wrestling with the Realm podcast. I'm Brian, one half of the power and glory of wrestling podcasts. And on the other side, he is the Hercules to my Paul Roma. He's my guy, Will. Will, what are we talking about?
Well, Brian, we oftentimes love to talk about the great things in professional wrestling, like a potential AJ Lee return.
Ooh,
That, hey, if
happening.
that happens, I, we're getting on the podcast talking about that because that would get me super excited. But that being said, we also need to highlight the negative things in wrestling. And I believe it was 2 weekends ago now, Raja Jackson, son of UFC Hall of Famer Rampage Jackson, got into a tussle, if you want to call it that, in the lightest terms, with a independent wrestler Psycho Stu. There was a spot backstage that was not supposed to happen where Stu hit Rampage Jackson son over the head with a propped beer can, we
It
can
was a
say.
re- it was a real beer can, but he
Oh,
he gimmick hit him. Like the can wasn't completely full, and he gimmick hit him like you would do in wrestling. Even Rajah Jackson said that it didn't hurt. He says that in his video. But
yeah,
continue, Will. We got to make sure we get the can thing right because that becomes a pivotal piece.
yes, it
This whole
does. It,
thing.
it definitely does. And then they hash the beef, but some dick in a cowboy hat, which we'll also get to,
Yep, we'll get to him. We'll get the cowboy.
we will get to him, says, "Hey, you need to go get your receipt." Something that, if you aren't very familiar with UFC fighters, is they have a kill switch. And unfortunately, Raja Jackson's anger at some point during his live stream on Kick gets revamped up. I don't know if he's reading the comments. Something clicks. And as the main event is happening, he goes and he gets his receipt. And it is one of the most heinous things I've seen in a professional wrestling ring. You're talking anywhere from 16 to 20 some shots uncontested to Psycho Stu's head after he was just supposed to shoot a double leg takedown on him. He picks him up over his shoulder and slams him to the ground.
Yeah, it's
And
like an
I believe it,
Alabama slam just up and over.
yeah, and his head dribbles off the mat. And if you ever hear these wrestlers talk about a wrestling ring, especially an independent wrestling ring,
Yeah.
it is not forgiving. So he is unconscious right then and there. And luckily, we've heard from Stu now
Yep.
after the fact. And, you know, what a blessing he's even still with us because that is how terrible this is. But me and Brian wanted to get on here to talk about a few things from Raja's side of it, from Stu's side of it, and me and Brian have kind of formulated our own opinion on some other
Mhm.
people that have definitely played a part in it from watching the live stream over again. So, Brian, how about you take us into that a little bit?
So Will and I wanted to get on here and talk about this because everybody was talking about it. I mean, if you were a professional wrestling fan 2 weeks ago, this came across your feed and it was big. It kind of blew up, and for the wrong reasons, especially if you're a wrestling fan. Like, this is the stuff you don't want to see. Um, it paints wrestling in a bad light. It's a negative for the whole sport of professional wrestling. It's not good for anybody,
Hmm.
So this thing blew up, but the more time that went by, like right from the beginning, just the initial few things that we saw with the beer can and all of that kind of stuff, it there seemed like there was something more going on. I mean, even my wife, when I first brought it to her and kind of showed her, she's like, "Okay, but what else? But what are we missing?" And I'm like, I don't know. So far, this is what we know. And she does the same thing. She's like, oh, okay, there's something that we're missing here because it doesn't really add up. So once the full stream got put up on YouTube that people had found of Rajah Jackson's, live streaming that day, I didn't even realize that this was a thing. That apparently you can go on some platform now and you can be interesting enough that people just watch you do your daily business. Like, I get
Yep.
Rampage Jackson, I suppose he's a name, but who's watching Rajah Jackson following his daily routine around? It's kind of ironic that the want to broadcast yourself, as I'm saying that, we're on a YouTube video, but it's not 24/7. You guys aren't watching me take the garbage out and play tug toy with my dog that I was just doing. Nobody wants to watch that.
Yeah.
But that's going to come back maybe to haunt him a little bit because you see everything from the start of that day when he shows up all the way to the aftermath as he's leaving the event. And once I watched that, it became really interesting that we have a couple of main players in this. I would try to put the videos up, but I know there's been a lot of back and forth with censoring with, excuse me, there's been a lot of YouTube censoring some of that video for whatever reason. So I'm not even going to try with that. If you guys are listening to us right now, you already know what happened. You guys have already seen this. You just want to get another take on it. Um, so when you watch that full stream, we get a couple of main players here, the main characters. We have Psycho Stu. We have AJ, the cowboy guy. You have Raja, and then you have the older he's Rikishi's cousin. He's one of the Samoans. Jim Cornette keeps calling him dehydrated Afa, I think is who he keeps calling him that. Um I'll probably cut that out, but Cornette was on with this, man. So there's the
I would like it if you leave it, to be honest, because that just shows how ridiculous Cornette is
yeah.
sometimes.
He was on point with this though. Like he was on
I
point.
turned it off.
Um
Terrible.
so yeah, he is not happy about
Mm,
this stuff, man. He's really pissed.
crazy.
Um so you have the older Samoan guy there. I think his wrestling name is the Black Pearl or something, but he's the co-owner of this wrestling school slash promotion with Rikishi. Rikishi is his cousin. So those are kind of our main players in this story. So when the live stream starts and Rajah Jackson shows up to this event in the backstage, which is really a parking lot, which again, this isn't even an indie show. It's almost smaller than that. Um, like it's very amateur. But when Rajah shows up, he shows up with AJ Cowboy guy. They are friends. That apparently is not a work. He knows Rajah. He brought him there. Rajah Jackson did not show up there to do a spot. He was there in the capacity of, I know one of the wrestlers and they're bringing me backstage. So once you see that in the beginning, you go, why is the cowboy guy bringing his friend back here who's videotaping his 24/7 nonsense to the backstage of this show? And when they show up back there, well, first, let me back up for a second. When those first few videos came out of what happened that day, AJ Cowboy is there in everything. He's very invested in everything that's going on. He seems to be somebody who's a major player, so much so you didn't know if he was the guy running the thing because he seemed like he was very important. Come to find out that he's just very important to himself in this story. So AJ Cowboy brings Rajah Jackson backstage to the event. You see Rajah start pointing at some of the other wrestlers, like, oh, I know who you are. You're so and so, and kind of yucking it up. And that's when you see Psycho Stu, who's over in the corner. He's kind of watching what's going on. And says, "Oh, you know those guys, do you know who I am?" And Raja's like, "I don't know who you are." So then he takes the can and he hits it on them, and then they kind of they stand there for a second, and then Psycho Stu says "Oh, you're not even going to sell it." And then that's when you can tell that the gears start turning in people's heads. You have AJ Cowboy who jumps in right away. Hey man, he's not working. He's not a worker. He's not a worker. He doesn't know. You have the Black Pearl Samoan guy trying to smooth things over, which then takes you to the apology where we see Psycho Stu apologizing to Raja Jackson, explaining, "Hey man, I didn't know that you weren't working. I didn't realize that." They shake hands, they do all that kind of thing. Then Black Pearl Samoan co-owner comes over and says, "Hey man, sometimes we're working all the time. Sometimes we're working too much. You know what we're going to do? We're going to use this and we'll use it later tonight in your match. Okay, Psycho Stu?" So that's the only fair thing is that Raja needs to get his receipt back because of this. So we'll have him do something in your match and do a run in. And everybody's like, "Okay, cool. That's what we're going to do." Then you get to after the apology with AJ Cowboy saying to Raja, you know, even when we're working, you don't do that. You don't hit him with the can like that. You go out there, you get your receipt. Hey, you remember what a receipt is, right? Right? You go out there and you tag them. Okay? Then we all know what happens next. If you're watching the live stream, we get more context before we get to the match where he runs in. You see him calling his dad, Rampage Jackson. Rampage Jackson has been watching the live stream of his son, so he sees what's gone on so far with the beer can and all of that. He gets on the phone and he's talking to Raja and he's kind of making fun of him a little bit, saying, "Oh man, I saw that you got your ass beat by some guys in tights. What are you doing with these guys in tights?" And you go, now he's almost antagonizing him, and Rampage is almost antagonizing Raja, and it's like, well, you're not making him feel good about this. So it's interesting that Rampage is kind of watching this whole thing unfold.
Yeah.
Then you get more of Raja this hour and a half or whatever it is before the match happens, where he's watching his own live stream and people are commenting on his live stream, telling him, you got punked out by that wrestler, you gotta beat that guy. And he's sitting there getting more and more amped up as he's seeing all of these comments, saying during his live stream what he's going to do. They told me that I can get a punch in. I'm going to keep punching them until they stop me. Like he's actively just saying what he's going to do. Then you get to the match where, somebody from this promotion comes over and tells him when he can run into the ring. He runs into the ring, supposed to do the double leg takedown, doesn't, slams Stu down. He's knocked out and then just starts raining blows upon him. There's one person, the referee doesn't know what to do. The one person who comes over who gets hands on Raja first and kind of just gets shrugged off. It turns out that's a 17-year-old kid in there. That kid's 17 years old. So I go, you had a 17-year-old kid in there, which seems like that's going to be an issue at some point. Two, this 17-year-old kid did something really brave that nobody else jumped in to do until Doug, I'm not sure his last name, I'm sorry, but the wrestler who eventually came out there and basically saved Stu's life by getting Raja off of him. Like you had a 17-year-old kid who was in there way over his head and at least attempted. So good on that kid for trying to do the right thing there. Um, but then we get this other wrestler who does make it out there and gets Raja off of Psycho Stu. Raja, we're going to do that a lot with Rampage and Raja. Raja tried to double leg him and take him down, but he slips and he couldn't do it because this Doug guy was fighting back. So there was a second there where Raja was kind of like, "Oh, I'm getting hit back, and he couldn't take him down. And to this Doug guy who makes a point of saying if he would have got taken down, this guy was going to try to kill him too. Like that's clear. He was just going to do this
Yeah.
until somebody stopped him. And I think Doug had to wind up giving a headbutt. He was busted open over his eye because he took a shot from Raja. Then you see Raja leaving the event. The police are called, and I don't know if the one guy comes out there to try to stall him or something just to get him to hang around longer till the cops get there, which didn't happen. But all of that is how it unfolds. Those are all of the players and kind of how the thing unfolded. Is that pretty accurate, Will? Does that seem
Yeah, no, you
good?
got 100% correct. And, as this continues to unfold and we're talking about all these crazy events, there has been absolutely no talks of a lawsuit.
Not yet.
No, not at all. And, you know, it sometimes sucks to watch, terrible things happen with no consequences. And that's not just for Raja. The guy you're talking about, you can't use wrestling language with a guy that has no clue what is happening. You can't use the word receipt when you're talking to someone about wrestling and you're just watching a premium live event or something. And they're over
Right.
at your house and this is their first time watching and they're like, oh, they just give them a receipt. They're going to be like, what are you talking about?
Right.
So the fact that you're explaining this to a guy that is a trained professional in MMA, telling him go get your receipt, I don't know. Morally, that just doesn't sit right with me. I feel like you don't want to use the words like set up or something crazy like that, but it almost feels that way a little bit. And I don't know if that's a hot take, but I really truly believe that Raj is not the only one, although he is the main person at fault. And by any means, this is not me trying to lift some of the burden off of Raj. No, he's 100% in the
Yep.
wrong. But there's more wrong to give out in this situation. That dude in the cowboy hat feels like he almost had it out for Stu. I don't know,
Yeah.
Brian. Do you agree with that, or am I losing it?
No, you're not losing it. And I don't think that that's a very hot take. Um, I'm gonna go there with you. But before we even get there, when you're talking about, with Raja, that he is the most at fault here, I go, absolutely. And the interesting thing is, we started earlier with the beer can thing, because now Rampage Jackson has come out and he has said more, and he's trying to really paint Psycho Stu in a certain way as to maybe give some sort of cover to his son that, if his son wasn't hit with a can ahead of time that he didn't know about, he wouldn't have had to do this. And I go, first of all, even if you want to say that Psycho Stu assaulted him with that can, we can go ahead and say that.
Yep.
Once you go an hour and a half of you then letting everybody know that you were going to keep punching him until somebody got him off, until somebody got you off of him, once he's unconscious and you're raining 28 more blows onto an unconscious man, I'm pretty sure that even if you want to claim you were assaulted first with that can, the part where you almost kill the person because they're unconscious, still think that carries a little bit more weight. I don't think they go, yep, but he started it. I know that sometimes we want to simplify things that way, and that's why this gets complicated because you have a professional wrestling angle mixed with a real life situation where the it's going to be stupid because this whole stupid beer can thing is going to become the crux of everything for this, because eventually this story is going to get to a courtroom and then it's going to be a lot of trying to figure out why and how this happened, and that stupid beer can is going to be played over and over again as an impetus for why this happened, which I go, yes. But here's the one thing that Jim Cornette, and I love Jim Cornette. I love joking about Jim Cornette. I don't always agree with him, but I respect the hell out of him. And hearing what he had to say about this situation, I go, that sounds like the most logical thing. He said if this was back when he was running OVW or if he was running some other little, independent, I won't use the exact language he used to describe this place. Um, he said if this was back in the day when he was running OVW and before the show, they were back there and some of the performers had beer. That's problem number one. Number two, if one of the wrestlers comes into the back with a friend who's videotaping, that's another problem. Then
Hmm.
you have one of the guys not understanding that this friend isn't a worker and hits him with a beer can and almost causes a problem there. He goes, he would have walked back there and told all of them to get, you're gone,
Yeah.
get out, you're gone, you're not here. That's the end of it. All of them would have been gone. The fact that that didn't happen, that we got to a match, is brings me back around to what you were just saying. This thing smelled to high heaven when it first came out, and seeing that full stream and seeing that this AJ guy, his initial statement claiming that everything he said or did was all while in character for the wrestling show, that wasn't real life. Clever. Chat GPT cranked that out for him, it seems like. But now, since then, hey, everybody, that guy's been fired from the wrestling thing and from his real job. He was on TMZ complaining about that. So here's what I think happened. I was saying this to Will, and that's why this is not a hot take, Will, because we were saying this from the beginning that something stunk. I think that it's possible that this AJ Cowboy guy has some heat with Stu and didn't want to go get his receipt on his own or has whatever problem that he has. I think he brings his friend, Raja, because again, it's not like Raja showed up there to film a spot. He was there just because his friend invited him. So, yeah, it shows you what he's got going on Saturday night or whatever it was with his 40 people that were probably watching him, that he's going with his cowboy friend to an amateur wrestling show. So there's that. So I think it's possible that cowboy guy brings his friend, puts his friend in a situation and sets up a bit of a situation because you know how Stu's going to react. Not that he cooked this whole thing up with Raja ahead of time and said, here's what we're going to do. But I think he knew he could do or say or witness certain things that would get a certain reaction out of Stu. Because when you watch that stream, that live stream, when you see Cowboy and Raja show up, it's like bad acting out of the Cowboy guy. Everything he does is like really bad acting, almost as though he was hoping he could get this reaction, and he did. And then, how convenient is it that let's come up with an idea where he can get a receipt back in the ring? That seems smart. And the biggest tell that this guy had was when he told him to get his receipt and then had to stop and say, "Remember what a receipt is, right?" Because here's my question, and this will come up in court. I'm sure he's going to be asked the question. You reminded him if he, or you asked if he remembered what a receipt is. That indicates you've explained to him what a receipt is. Did you
100%.
explain to him what a receipt is before or after the can? Because if you explained to him what it was before the can, you're in because that would indicate why did you smarten him up to that piece of information so later, and I'm not saying that he pulled Raja aside and said, hey, if you go in there and you do whatever, you're going to get a free shot on him. But I think what he might have done is be like, hey, man, when we're doing our wrestling stuff, if somebody gets out of line in the ring, we got something called a receipt. A receipt's where you get to hit them back. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? That's what that is. Do I think that he probably did that enough so that Raja could hear receipt
Yeah.
and have an idea? Yes, I do. And if that's the case, maybe this whole thing was a rib on Stu that just got out of hand because somebody, cowboy guy, is an idiot and didn't think things through. Because there's too many crazy things that happen for it just to be complete and utter just, oh, shucks, we don't know what happened. No, BS. I'm not believing that. I think that Cowboy guy had some sort of issue with Stu and that it's possible that this was a rib gone wrong. We know nothing. We have no inside information on that. I can't swear to that because I don't know. This is just a plausible thing that may or not have happened, allegedly. Wait, we can say allegedly, right?
Yep, yep, all of it alleged. All of
Anything is like, why do you ask him about the receipt thing? Why? I don't know. There's too much
crazy.
that's messed up with that. Then, on top of that, the Doug guy, who's the one that went in and saved the day, his rundown of what happened that night was he didn't even know about the beer can or any of that stuff. Somebody came to him after his match during the show and was like, "Hey, we might need you to come out there later. There might be a situation. We might need you later." And he was like, "Okay, what's my cue? What am I supposed to do?" And they didn't tell him. They were just like, "Just, we had, the beer can thing." And then they explained it to him and said, "We might need you to come out there." And he was still kind of like, maybe not sure. Are they asking him to do a run in? Like, what are they, what are they really asking me to do? So by the time he's finally getting that explained to him, Stu's already knocked out and he's trying to get by people to get out to the ring as fast as he can to try to get this guy off of Stu. And I go, that shows that whoever was running it thought that maybe this could get out of hand, which again shows some culpability, I would think. It just seems like, for what? Like, what was the whole point of any of it? Like, do you feel good that you got to get Rajah Jackson in to do a spot? That's the other thing, Will. That doesn't make any sense.
Yep.
What do you mean? We're going to make something of this for the 40 people who are sitting out there who have no idea what just
And if
happened
this
backstage?
happened,
Come on.
exactly. Like no one there at the show is watching Raja Jackson's stream. And if you are watching someone else's day-to-day life on a stream, you probably need to go outside. You may like I watch some podcasts in my free time. I'm online, but I'm not watching someone's day-to-day life. And by the way, that is the biggest problem in all of this for him when it comes to legal trouble. The evidence is there, man. You've set yourself up, and your anger, it just got way too out of control. Terrible moment for wrestling. And, you just feel bad for Stu. But to see him make a full recovery, he posted a little Twitter video. Sorry, X video. It's
Yeah, it's
like
okay. We do it.
premium live event. It's like not calling it a pay per view,
Yep.
but he's in good spirits. He was shockingly joking about the situation, which I find crazy to be in that good of spirits after that just happened to you. But it must be so surreal for him
Yeah.
because how do you expect that to happen? You don't. So thank God he is still with us, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
And you know, hopefully something like this never happens again. And it sucks to have this be like a moment where like hopefully people can learn a lesson just not to bring celebrities into wrestling unless they have months upon months upon months of
Right.
training and experience in the sport. So yeah, not a good look for professional wrestling, Brian.
It sucks because wrestling is going to get drug through this with what a work is and what a work isn't. And it's going to be interesting to see legally where the cards fall because if they're going to try to use a defense of he didn't realize that he wasn't really getting hit with the beer can to hurt him or you know what I mean? Like it's going to be hard to try to have it both ways to say that he's not a worker, so he shouldn't have been there. But on the flip side, he should have been smart enough to know that he really wasn't trying to be hurt with a beer can. Um, but I also I also think Stu tried to apologize. Like he didn't just apologize and say sorry. he apologized and was explaining why he did that or why he thought, oh, I thought that you were working. I thought that you were somebody here. And I go, that's another gray area where you have the quote backstage, which is outside, but you have that area, and generally you don't have non-wrestlers coming back there. So I go, Stu should have been smarter than to just assume that for
Yeah,
sure. But that in no way deserves what happened to him. I think that's the part that gets lost a little bit as we get off track from what the actual event was, where somebody was unconscious and somebody else is still punching them in the head. Like,
yep,
like I again, I can totally see it being plausible that you have some people that maybe thought they were getting a rib on a rib for anybody who doesn't know in the business, a rib is playing a prank or a joke on somebody,
yeah,
and sometimes those can be pretty cruel. Um, Especially if you have heat with somebody. So I could see a world where somebody has some heat with Stu and thought it would be really funny if he took a punch from somebody legit, and boy, won't that show him. And I go, you can see an alternate reality or an alternate universe where this goes off in a different way, where they do the can thing. There's an apology. Gets in there, takes him down, and just gives him a good punch to the gut and knocks the wind out of Stu and doesn't punch him in the head 28 times or whatever it was. Like there's a reality where that happens and nobody's talking about this. That's just a regular day in amateur wrestling and indie wrestling. I shouldn't say amateur, but you guys know what I mean. I'm talking about like lower than an indie event. Um, you could see that happening somewhere like that because that's the kind of stuff that used to happen back in the day in WWF. You would have that. It doesn't happen like that anymore. That's not really how people will get set up. But I go, I could see that being a situation where somebody would do that. And this time you rolled the dice on it and you didn't count on the person that was going to get the receipt for you to be out of their mind and try to seriously hurt somebody. Like they didn't account for that, and that's why you shouldn't do that, and why the business has been trying to clean up that kind of stuff for a long, long time.
yep. Overall, disappointing situation in general. Yeah. Well, we can change the subject to something a little bit more lighthearted. Still maybe a little foolish.
I was gonna say it's foolish all the way around, but
It's still foolish. I mean, this is a pretty foolish. We got a lot of foolish topics. So,
yeah.
talk to me about Kelly Osbourne. Why is Kelly Osbourne foolish, Brian?
Okay. So this, I thought that this dovetailed in nicely with celebrities and wrestling and what's a work and what's not a work. So on Monday Night Raw, Becky Lynch, they're in Birmingham, and Becky Lynch is there, and Nikki Bella comes out, and they're shooting a promo, and Becky Lynch says, you know, do you want a match? Fine, you can have your match, but I'm not wrestling in Birmingham. The only good thing that ever came out of here died a month ago, meaning Ozzy Osbourne. Then she says, but in fairness to Ozzy Osbourne, he had the good sense to move to LA, a proper city, because if I lived in Birmingham, I'd die too. Okay, so that's what Becky Lynch said. Boos rained down from the crowd. So Ozzy Osbourne has passed away. Um, but his daughter Kelly, like, actually went onto social media to talk about it and said, shame on the WWE for allowing such things to be said about my father and his home. Okay, here's why this irked me. Or not irked me, but just a little bit foolish. Does Kelly Osbourne knows wrestling is quote unquote fake, right? Like she knows that it's scripted and this is basically it's acting. Like I get the part where she's offended because she brought up her dad, but I go, she said he's the only good thing to come out of Birmingham. She didn't say he's just like all the other losers in Birmingham, and that's why he died. She didn't say anything like that. So I go, it's a really weird thing for Kelly Osbourne to be that mad at Becky Lynch in the WWE. Kelly, it's just make believe. It's okay. They're not like Becky Lynch doesn't really think that Birmingham is terrible. She doesn't think that your dad, you know, was wise to move to LA. Although he probably was. It was probably good. But like she's not really meaning those things. It's just her character who's saying it. It's turning into Andre the Giant and Bruce Pritchard. He tells the great story that Andre the Giant hated Brother Love, but Bruce's Brother Love, and they had to do a spot together, and Andre wouldn't do it. I don't like Brother Love. I don't like him. And you go, right, but I'm Brother Love. I don't like Brother Love. And then Vince would come in and tell me, hey, pal, it's Bruce's Brother Love. Yeah, I like Bruce. I like Bruce. I go, well, come on, pal. He's Brother Love. I don't like Brother Love. And it's like, what are we doing, Andre? You know what I mean? Like, Kelly, it's not real. She's not really mad about that. And she said your dad was good. He's the only good thing to come out of Birmingham. It was funny. Here's my problem with Becky Lynch doing it. It's cheap heat. That is the cheapest of heat that you could do, Will. Right?
Yeah, no, that's cheap heat. And you'd think like Kelly's been around the business. Ozzy's done like, oh man, 1,000 songs for these PLEs in the
Yeah.
past. You would think like she knows. She has to know. It's cheap heat. Like she's around the business enough to
Yeah.
know. But
Yeah. It is the cheapest of heat. I thought Becky delivered it good. It was one of her better promos I thought that she's had since this heel turn. I feel like she's getting more comfortable in that role. But I'm
mhm.
like, I was just so surprised to hear that Kelly Osbourne was that upset about it. Oh, that was the other thing I was going to say about Kelly is that it also made me laugh because this is the same Kelly Osbourne who like 20 years ago was on the radio show Loveline and was talking about how she knows history and they're studying history and Adam Carolla asks her like who the Allied powers and the Axis powers were in World War II, and she's like, "Oh, come on, we didn't learn that part yet." And it's like, but this is easy. Like we could even call them the good guys and the bad guys. Like,
No,
just saying.
that is hilarious.
Yeah.
No, I mean, speaking of, this is not on our list. Maybe we could just quick budget it in real quick. Bailey's new character, what's going on there? That was a super weird vignette they put together for her. I don't think this is gonna go well. It put me on the books right now. Hopefully we can come back to this and I can be wrong because I'm actually Bailey's okay. I don't think I'm a Bailey like fan. I don't think I'm like a Bailey hater either.
No.
But this is like terrible. We have her talking to her past self and her former self, and I heard she's gonna be Stephanie Vacquer's opponent for the belt. No, I'm good. I'm so good. Let's just roll Stephanie Vacquer versus like Io Sky, and one of them can finally pin the other one.
Yeah.
That can be a fun match, but
Man.
who knows? Who knows, man? You,
No.
yeah.
Come on.
All
Oh,
right. What are you
come
what are
on.
you thinking?
You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking that WWE creative were like, oh man, that John Cena heel thing, that didn't work. But they're like, but we have the rest of it right here. And they were like, what's Bailey doing?
what's Bailey doing?
And they were like, I don't know. We replaced her with Becky Lynch. Turn her heel. And they just like handed the binder over and were like, do that.
You they were like if John Cena was sitting in a chair in a room all alone talking to Super Cena in this version of himself,
Yeah,
I might have quit watching professional
right?
wrestling. That might have been
That's
my breaking point. Maybe we need to start having those type of standards and
sure we do.
we won't have such bad weekly television like we've had recently.
Yeah,
So yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, they
yeah.
definitely just handed that over to Bailey. So while we have a minute, maybe we can pivot to a positive.
Let's do it.
Clash in Paris was good. It was good. It was there was a few good moments that I really liked about it. And if anything, the Paris crowd might be the greatest crowd in professional wrestling history.
Yeah, they were pretty good.
So good. They just are so rowdy. So I don't know if we're doing a review. I think we are. So
Okay, well then I'm not. I'm gonna save that Shockmaster moment for the night, even though we all know what it is. Becky Lynch,
everybody
Nikki
knows what
Bella.
the Shockmaster moment is.
Yeah, everybody knows what that is, cause
Yeah. Oh, that yeah. Okay, we'll get to that, but stay tuned for that. Okay.
never thought I'd be rooting for Nikki Bella.
Yeah. Hey,
Wasn't on my bingo card.
no, it wouldn't, but oh my gosh, imagine. Oh, we're running out of time, but I need to get this off. Imagine if CM Punk's like, I need a teammate, and it's Nikki Bella instead of AJ Lee. People might like stop watching professional wrestling. Like, you can't set up a storyline for AJ Lee to come back and she doesn't come back. That'd be crazy.
Yeah, that's what we need is more Becky Lynch and Nikki Bella. Nikki
Yeah,
Bella doing kicks from the top rope to nowhere, and Becky Lynch selling from across the ring. Yeah, that was not good.
no,
Let's
no.
not do that again. I
Yeah,
was rooting for
let's
Nikki
never
Bella
have
though.
those two work again, please.
Hmm,
Uh, all right, before we wrap up, I told you guys I have a one of one item. I got to
let's
put
see
up
it.
my glasses. You can guess this in a million tries. Hold up. PSA 8 Marcus Camby rookie card. Marcus Camby's like a one-time All-Star. Oh, come on, come
One
through.
time All Star.
One-time All-Star, one-time Defensive Player of the Year. I don't know what inspired me to buy this. Marcus Camby is like a B basketball player all time, but I have it.
You're
I have
happy
it.
about it.
I know. I never thought I'd be happy to have it, but I am. Yeah. So there's the one of one item. No Pokemon cards today.
Wait, what's the guy's name?
Marcus Camby.
Okay.
He was like a raptor and a nugget. Uh, so yeah, one of one item. If you haven't, subscribe to the TikTok. Go check out the YouTube shorts. Hold me to it, guys. I got you with a start one, bench one,
Oh, I
cut
love
one
those.
by the time that this video is up.
Ooh.
Brian, you got anything for him?
Yeah. Uh, go over to the Realm Paranormal Podcast. We're linked down below. Go check us out. Catch up on some of the old stuff because we have a new season that's going to be starting in the beginning of October. We're doing some movie reviews, guys. Scary movie reviews for Scaretober.
Go check them out. Until next time, guys, we love you guys.
Peace.
Peace. I have a different collectible that I'll show everyone
Oh,
at the end of the podcast. It's some real stuff.
oh man, it's going to be like a Hulk Hogan autographed thing
Mm-mm.
of real American beer.
Ooh, that would be great, but no, this is even crazier.
Okay, so here's what Kelly Osbourne said, and I'll try to say it just like her. You are a disrespectful dirtbag. Uh, what else
That's
did she
pretty
say?
good.
Shame on the WWE for allowing such things to be said about my father and his home. Yeah,
Oh, that's good, man. That is
yeah,
really good.
yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get into it, I guess. Chat GTP or GP? Is it Chat? Is it Chat GTP?
Chat GPT.
Wait.
GT. GPT.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah. We wrap it. You want to wrap it up? We
Yeah, you
just
want to wrap it?
okay. Hold on, 1 second.
You're getting Pokemon cards, aren't you?
Yeah, I got him.
Ah!
Go. All right. Should I just, guys? It's been a while. And I know we're gonna wrap up right now. And so if you haven't, go check out the TikTok. It's doing great. We just got another
Yeah.
short up courtesy of Brian. Check out the YouTube shorts. Leave a like on those. Go check out Realm Paranormal Podcast. Brian, what's going on
Subscribe.
over there?
You guys got to subscribe, man.
Oh
You
yeah,
guys need to subscribe and tell two of your friends to subscribe.
that's right. That's
Then
great.
have them go over to the Realm Paranormal podcast on YouTube. The link's right down there. They can go down there. They can click that link. They can subscribe over there and listen to us talk about, well, not Will. Will's not
Mm,
on the
I won't
paranormal
be there.
stuff, not yet. We're going to get him there. But you can come hear me and the rest of the gang talk about paranormal stuff. It's a lot of fun. All
Okay,
right, Will, go.
here we
Go.
go. Oh my gosh, we got
Oh,
a
that brings back
shot,
memories.
shiny leaf energy.
Yep.
Oh, focus, focus. A fossil. That's kind
Cool.
of scary. Slowpoke. This is the original 151, Brian.
Is that good?
Yeah, it's like Charizard.
Oh, these are the ones that I used to play with, like the original
Yeah.
characters. You mean? Oh, dude.
Or C,
Dude, if there's a Squirtle in there,
Eradicate. Oh, please be Squirtle. Erica's invitation. Ooh, that kind of sounds a little scary. I'm not gonna lie. Megatron?
oh, see that how'd that
Oh,
get in there?
Megatron.